And well, as we're getting into the semifinals, this is actually going to be starting to be set play. So, Melissa, mind reminding the audience about how set play is and what it does?
Absolutely. So we're going to be starting with the splat zones on Muscle Forge Fitness. And how set play works is that it's a very specific style of competitive Splatoon. We'll start with 3 games of splat zones. Each map within splat zones, if I am, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, is counter pickable for the zones. The first team to take 2 of 3 or that best of 3 with that set will then have kind of 1 point that they can use. The losing team will be able to pick the mode for the next set, and that becomes a best of 3. And we'll do 3 best of 3s within this. So that's potential for 9 total games with each mode of play being counterpick available.
That is pretty crazy. That is pretty crazy, and it's hopefully going to be for some extremely intense sets. Because the advantage of having a set play in this stage of the tournament, it allows these teams to fully experiment and develop on the strategies that they know they're the most comfortable with, and essentially bringing the enemy team into their own turf. Let's say you're super strong at tower control, you've got a strat, you know you're the best. You can just bring the enemy team to be forced to play tower control on the map that you want, essentially, theoretically speaking, giving you a free win in both a game and the set. So we're going to be seeing whoever wins this first Splat Zone set, though, is going to be an insane advantage, having one set win over the other. And we're going to be starting with Splat Zone's Muscle Forge. What do you think is going to happen from these two teams?
I think I think anything can happen right now. I think Lowkey played really well in that last set, reverse sweep. FTWin came back with that reverse sweep, so it's going to be really really strong.
And now that I think about it, actually, this specific semifinal is actually the North American semifinal, if we really want to look at it that way, because the other semifinal is going to be between Olive and Astral. So it's going to be a clash between, on one hand, North American teams, and on the other hand, we're going to be seeing European teams clashing to. So we're guaranteed to see an NA versus EU finals, but the interesting part now is going to be seeing which team is going to represent which region. And with FTWin having just come off of an extremely explosive performance at the World Championship, it's going to be a tough one for Lowkey, but I'm sure they can prove us their worth.
I definitely think they can. I mean, Lowkey continues to prove that they're a super strong team. Their teamwork is great. You guys were talking about sort of calling these plays and calling the shots, and I think that that's something that they continuously have as an advantage over any other team that they go against. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to do, and we are going to be able to get right into this with Splat Zones on Muscle Forge Fitness for our semifinals of our first qualifier for Grand Prix 2.
And
Um,
we see the Hydra. This
huh.
is going to be making Dia proud if he's out there. This is making Dia real proud. But interesting comp coming in from FT1. Do you mind talking a little bit about this double L3 coming off of them?
Very interesting. I think that they are looking to have just a lot of paint that they'll be able to use. As we have known, L3 has gained a lot of popularity recently, very recently, and we're going to continue to see it just happening more and more within competitive play. So I'm really excited to see that they brought this out. I think having one of them as sort of using both of them as not just inking but also pressure weapons is going to be very very helpful for them. And I don't know. I'm excited to see what they do here.
Shaq unfortunately getting picked off mid-jump there, and it seems like unless the walls are getting popped, okay, it seems like control is finally going to FTWin, but Lowkey is still in positions to potentially just completely disrupt this. The one here getting up.
Whoa!
Ooh, that was so close. That was way closer than it should have been. Ice there nearly pulling an insane clutch kill off, but it doesn't seem like it. The one, though, getting a bit too cocky there and just dying to Shaq. Very unfortunate, but Misa is there to clean it up. And honestly, now that I think about it, the Hydra pick from Gamer might have some value. Seeing all those ballers, all that turf, the Hydra just shreds all of that, destroying it all of it. So, what do you think about that? Do you think it makes sense at this point, or?
I think the Hydra is actually a really strong pick. I'm excited because it has the range, it has the ability to paint. It's going to allow them to, like you said, shred everything in its path. And I think that's really fun. I'm very, very excited to see that they decided to go with something that they felt comfortable with and also will help support the rest of the team comp. But right now, the one doing a really great job making sure that they get as many picks as possible with this Brella that the one is famous for playing. You know, the lead has gone over to Lowkey, and that's going to put FTWin on the aggressor here. But if they keep getting themselves caught where they can't quite move out of ink like Shaq just did, it's going to pose a little bit of a problem for them.
Yeah, the one seems to have Shaq's number right now. I'm really curious to see Gamer finally getting set up in mid. It seems like he's been taking a little bit of time to get in the right position, but as soon as he's going to get there, I think it's going to be really, really tough for FTWin to get him out of there. And this is coming in. The bubbles are going to come in from ice, but I think if that Hydra is in the right position, they're going to be able to deal with them effectively, and the zone is not capped. Great pick. Arashi getting the yeets, and what do you think FTWin has to do at this point? Because they're 3 down. Do you think they can do it?
I'm not sure. They really don't have a lot of time to be able to push in. They needed that pick on Arashi, which they just didn't get. And Arashi's positioning is so strong pushing forward. FTWin just doesn't have enough time to do anything about that. I think that this is showing that Lowkey has kind of stepped up a little bit. They're ready to play. They've shaken off whatever they had at the beginning of that last set that they played, and now they're sort of showing FTWin that they're not messing around.
Yeah, they're definitely riding that wave of euphoria, that adrenaline rush, that the tightness of the set against B essentially injected right into their veins, and this is really paying off so far. Amazing performance right there by Gamer, which again probably is making Dia proud. So representing that Hydra, which we never see enough being played in competitive because of how difficult it is to fit in team comps, but I think Lowkey managed to finally find a sweet spot for it as we move into Splat Zone's Ink Blot. So, you think this is a cool counter pick by FTWin?
Yes, I think that this is a good choice. I think we had seen this map previously earlier today. My memory is kind of blanking, but I do remember that it was very, very helpful for all of these players who love to play long range. And did Lowkey win on that one? I was trying to remember,
Mm,
looking
for
up
which
on my
one?
notes right here. When they were playing Splat Zones on Inkblot, I feel like they had put themselves in good positions to kind of set up, and I just don't remember who won. I'm so sorry. So
I
I
don't
think,
remember either, so don't worry about that. I think
okay.
it's perfectly fine. I am personally a goldfish, but I enjoy being a goldfish because I can get more hyped about the matches coming up if I forget about what happened before. So, um, definitely excited to see what's going to happen. Do you think FT1 is going to be bringing that double L3 again?
They could. I think that they do have an option to do so. I think it's a good map for it. So they might feel like, hey, what worked last time, we're going to just run with again, see how we do it. I think here we're just going to see it. No, nope.
No,
I don't see
nope.
that double L3 again.
I'm just currently in awe of Kyo deciding to play that Grim Range Blaster. Not
I
a
was
weapon we've
about to ask you about that.
Yeah, it's not a weapon we've been seeing much play of. I think we saw it earlier. I think it was in the Azure set, I'm pretty sure, but Kyo going down right now, so we're gonna have to wait a little longer to see what he can do with it. And Shaq going down as well, so Gamer getting a nice solid pick. Potentially double kill. He does get the double kill. Force the Booyah Bomb, but this is already slowing down FTWin so much.
It certainly is. I think that this could be a little bit of a trouble issue for FTWin right now. I think Kyo having that blaster might be strong. We know that Kyo can play a very mean blaster, and it could be beneficial to them and to FTWin. But being called out is also going to be rather problematic, bringing those missiles right through zone, knowing that you have to just do everything you can to make sure that they don't get any little bit of paint as possible. Maybe missiles is what FTWin was hoping for, so that they can use it to pressure everyone from Lowkey out of their positioning. I'm not quite sure, but so far it seems to be working for them as they brought the point down to 66.
Makes sense, and I think it could also be a small adaptation from Kyo in order to better deal with both gamers positioning as well as potentially the one's umbrella, which we saw really annoying all of FTWin's frontline pressure during the last game. But still, even if FTWin has the lead right now, it seems like Lowkey is in control. Gamer not dive the bomb there is huge because he's gonna be able to pop this Booyah bomb and completely live through that Stingray there, which Ice was really planning to get the most out of.
This was the map that I was thinking specifically for Gamer. I think being set up is really strong and is going to be really helpful, but unfortunately not quite able to hold zone long enough to take this lead. They don't need a lot of points, really, so if they can get this back, that's going to be really helpful for them. Arashi does have this hammer, though, so it's going to be tough. Unfortunately, I'm not sure. Nobody's really going after this objective. They're just focusing on getting the splats that they need in order to clear their way out, which is very helpful. But okay, I was like, but that puts FTWin
No,
in such
I
a
agree though.
danger.
I agree though because it's a slight misplay so far, at least from Arashi. When we saw 3 players down with the one getting a very important double kill beneath the enemy plat, Arashi there should have definitely gone for the cap because that would have slowed down FTWin at least a little bit. But he instead tried to challenge, I think it was Toon, and essentially got punished by Kyo with a beautiful direct on the hammer. So we currently see Lowkey getting back in control, but it's really going to come down to whether they keep prioritizing kills or if they finally realize, hey, we need to keep that objective. That is more important than getting those kills.
I'm not sure because right now Lowkey is in a perfect position to just hold on to this. They do take the lead right there, even with that Stingray coming out. Can't quite get the pick on Gamer. Gamer is forced to move very far off of where he wanted to be in order to stay alive from those missiles in that Stingray, but pops a Booyah into zone. So that'll continue to hold on to this for Lowkey. And finally, FTWin has pushed back into mid with a 3-down situation on Lowkey.
You with a very nice double bomb right there. Double kill, sorry. Potentially trying to go for that delayed triple kill, unable to find the last shot behind the corner, but still with the double missile right there. I was gonna say finally getting the initiation going with that double missile. That's gonna prove to be a real hindrance for Lowkey's takeback right now. We see Ice having used his jetpack already, I think a little bit too early, and so the only special left on the side of FTWin seems to be that baller right now. So I don't think that's gonna be enough to stop Lowkey from taking this one back, but let's see what happens here.
This is very, very crucial for FTWin. You know, if that's exactly what I was worried about happening. If Lowkey took that zone, they have a huge penalty on the side of FTWin. With less than a minute left, I know they can do it, but it doesn't bode well for the amount of time that FTWin would need to hold this zone in order to break off that penalty and take the lead. So Lowkey is sitting really pretty right now. They need to hold on to this and make sure that they don't lose their positioning.
Yeah, Ice seems to really not be getting too much of those Stingrays, which is unfortunate considering he's popped already 6 Stingrays, I think. But it seems like the rest of the team is able to follow up on them, but I'm surprised he hasn't been getting so many picks out of those. So definitely something to keep in mind, especially for the counter picks of what's gonna happen next from either team. Obviously, Lowkey gonna try to take advantage of those misplaced Stingrays, and obviously FTWin trying to go for maps that don't really rely on those too much. But the match is coming down really close right now. The Stingray I was mentioning right now, trying to clutch it out. Is it gonna happen? What do you think, Melissa?
No, I just don't think there was enough time there as I had thought. For a minute, I thought commentators cursed. I've cursed them all. They're going to take this zone and take the lead, but just not quite enough there. So Lowkey does hang on to that and take that game.
And essentially not only taking the game, but taking the first set in the set play format. So it's now going to come down to FTWin to also choose the mode. And what mode do you think FTWin is actually going to go for?
I want to see Clan Blitz because we haven't seen it all day, but I'm doubtful.
I actually didn't realize this, but I agree. I think Clan Blitz would be nice to see. But if I have to think back at, for example, E3 at the World Championships, I'm
Mhm.
feeling probably Tower Control because that was probably the mode that FTWin played the most consistently and did the best at throughout the entire E3 event. So I think that's what's going to happen, but I might always be wrong because you never know with these players what's going to happen.
You certainly don't. And I think that that just makes it all the more exciting for us to be able to watch and see what goes on. So I'm sure they're talking it over right now, trying to come up with what's going to be the best play for them. And I don't know. I think I can agree with you. I think tower control might be the way we go and what we see here. And if they do go tower control, they're going to start on Starfish main stage, which is a map that we haven't seen yet today, if I'm correct in that. So it could be kind of interesting to see what each team brings for something brand new.
But yeah, for now we're gonna have to first of all, obviously, wait for this mode pick from FTWin. And really, I've been surprised so far from Lowkey. We saw the start of the previous set against B start with a very slow pace, but it seems like they've just been picking up that pace. They've been shifting gears, and they're currently going on the fifth gear. They're going so fast that not even FTWin seems to be able to stop them.
Seems like it. I think FTWin also coming off of the great showing that they had at the World Splatoon World Championship last weekend is really doing what they can to just continue to play the game as well as they know it. So if they kind of have fun today, but maybe they aren't quite able to perform as much as they wanted to, I think that's still okay and that they should be proud of what they're doing. Right now, Lowkey also needs to be really proud. Taking that first two games, that set off of F2 win is huge.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think if I'm not mistaken, Loki has in recent times been somewhat inconsistent in their tournament placings, but this one so far definitely feels like a highlight in the recent months of playing, and it could really be the tournament, the boom, the explosion that they really needed to get back that level of consistency, that little oomph that they've been kind of lacking lately. So this just might be it for them.
It certainly may, and it looks like we're going to be going to Rainmaker on Black Belly Skate Park. So that's going to be very exciting. Not what we had anticipated, huh?
Definitely not what I anticipated, and this is interesting. Rainmaker Black Belly is never a map mode that I was personally vote for. DJ closing the private. Currently a moment of tension. No, okay. Um, I think he was just expressing my fear of this map mode because I don't think it's a fun map mode to play. It's really annoying. It's really it's a mess. Playing this map mode is a mess. There's really no better way to define it. Really, what do you think about it? What do you think we're going to be seeing these teams play as well?
I'm not completely sure. I think that you could absolutely agree with what you said that it's a mess. And that tweet that you were talking about earlier is kind of the definitive this mode is a map mode combination is a mess. And maybe we'll see something like that again. Maybe we'll see some cheesing going on. I think Lowkey could bring out that camo Tentabrella once again. I think we're absolutely going to see Arashi stick with the L3 that he has been playing, and I want to see Gamer back on that remix because I think it's a really strong pick for him, and I think the Booyah Bomb is very, very good.
Also, on a completely unrelated note, I guess we have to point out that on the other side of the semifinals, we see Team Astral and Team Olive currently being 1-1 set wise, with the last set right now being on Rainmaker being picked by Astral after a TC set that was chosen by Team Olive.
Hopefully that will have helped Olive out in there. And now that they're 1-1, let's see what For the Win or FTWin versus Lowkey is able to do right here on this one. So we don't have the Tentabrella. Gamer on that vanilla sloshing machine.
I think I'm gonna leave you right now to do the commentary so far until my thing loads. Okay, there we
No,
go.
that's
It just
okay.
loaded.
You're
I
totally
am
fine.
here.
So
I'm here.
yeah, so we have Gamer on that vanilla sloshing machine, which I think is a very interesting pick. Something I was like, what is going on? Jumping
What just
back
happened?
to home? I'm not sure. FTWin pushing all the way forward. Lowkey has decided not to play. This might be a replay. Maybe this was the wrong
Map
map.
mode?
Nope, map mode. Rainmaker Black Belly. Maybe there was a little bit of an Misa's controller broke apparently. Controller issue.
Oh,
Okay, so that will be a replay, and we will see what how Misa is going to be able to
hopefully
get
fix
this
that controller, because
working.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's not something you want to see happen this far into the tournament when you're doing so well. So this is not something that is good. This is kind of like a LAN issue. I'm just surprised this is actually happening online right now. But aside from that, looking at these comps, what do you think is going to happen? You were talking about that Vanilla Machine by Gamer. I think it's a cursed pick. Toby agreed with me, but it might have some advantages here. What do you think?
I think it could. I think having a sloshing machine on Black Belly can be really strong because you can use those arcs to just get right over all the bumps that are in this map, and it might be a really good pick for any of the half pipe pushes that we usually see. I I don't know. I think we're gonna have to play it out and see what Gamer is able to do with it. Very, very competent player, super strong, and someone who, when you put any weapon into his hands, is able to do his absolute best with it. So I'm
Most
excited to see what
definitely.
goes on.
Most definitely. And let's see if there's any change in the team compositions. No. Okay, so straight up replay. Hopefully, Misa's controller right now is going to be working perfectly as it should. And without further ado, let's get into this game with Keo actually going for a machine himself, but he's going for the good one. He's going for the edgy Tensa machine. So that's going to be a lot of aggressive pressure on the side of FTWin with the combination of the K shot and the K machine. So this is going to be a tough one to defend for Lowkey.
I think I think you're right. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to be able to do here. Misa does get the pick off of Keo, but unfortunately goes down from Shaq, and Shaq picks up the Rainmaker. This is one of the things I also love watching. You know, we talked earlier about how much fun it is to watch Marsh play Rainmaker, but Shaq is another one who I love watching push Rainmaker. He always is able to kind of do that sort of thing where he dodges a Stingray, he maneuvers himself really well on the map. A push to 69, not so huge, but still something, and really, really a good start for only a minute into the game.
Honestly, Shaq is one of those players that is just really smart. Like, there's no other way to define the way Shaq plays other than really smart. And you can really see that both when he's playing his main weapon and when he's playing something as the Rainmaker. He generally goes for the smoothest, the most optimal play in most scenarios, which is one of the reasons that FTWin is such a good team. And talk about such a good team. That's 3 down. Gamer currently winning that 1v1 I thought he was going to lose. And this might extend Lowkey's push all of a sudden.
It certainly can. Gamer pops Stingray in reverse, gets the pick on ice, which is going to be crucial right now. There are 2 down on the side of FTWin. Gamer, can they get to the Stingray? Oh, or the Rainmaker in time? No, and goes down from Shaq. That was really, really close. Exactly what FTWin really wants right now, though.
Yeah, that reset right there, it definitely came in clutch. Gamer could have cheesed a couple more points, but I don't think it would have actually really mattered as the rest of the team was down. And FT1 looks like they might not be in the lead, but they seem to currently have most of the mid game in their advantage. Most of the scrimmages that have been going on so far have been won by FT1. And with such a solid control on mid, I guess all they're doing right now is just waiting to have those Tenta missiles in combination with those with the storm and those that Stingray as we see them pop right now. So this is going to be the moment that FT1 is waiting for. Jax needs to get the pick though.
I think Shaq was waiting for those missiles, and maybe there was a slight miscommunication because I'm pretty sure Shaq was going to go for that Rainmaker. Does have a chance to pick it up, but pushes it all the way to 32. Beautiful, beautiful push coming out right there. Does take the lead and getting it up onto this plat while in an easy situation for Lowkey to pick up and push back out. It does allow FTWin to just take that lead really quickly, and it's going to be a lot harder for Lowkey to get that back right now.
Yeah, and having the one actually be the one picking it up right now with that Splatbrella, it means that Lowkey is actually going to lose one of their main forms of initiation in both the in both the Brella shield and the storm. So that's going to probably backfire and really hurt this attempt at the push right now that Lowkey might be trying to go for. But I believe that they're not really trying to push right now. It's more of a we're trying to stall, we're trying to get the Rainmaker as far as we can, to then follow up with a pop and a nice next lead. But Toon right here just completely shutting everything down with his sole presence. Is he going to be able to get the kill there? No, but he might be cheesing up the Rainmaker.
I think so. Not just looking for a lot of the picks that he was getting, but also causing a huge distraction. Had to have 2 players on top of him at that moment, which allows everyone else to just be paying attention to him. So they can't really do much else. They can't paint, they can't move throughout the map if they have to take care of him and his positioning before anything else. So This is where I think FTWin just feels really good and really confident about their play so far. Oh, getting picked out of the air. Keo, not really great for them right now. Two specials. No, the Stinger gets popped. So one special online for Lowkey. This is going to help aid them in this push. Painted all the way up here. Gets the other
Misa!
pick. Misa just popping off.
Misa going absolutely insane, but he's the only one going crazy right now. The rest of Lowkey just going down. That could have been insane. That pick on the machine was ridiculous. It was such a hard shot, but Misa was still able to get it. But it's so unfortunate that nobody was there to back him up in what could have otherwise been the lead. And honestly, I think that was the last opportunity for Lowkey to get a lead, because I don't think they're going to be able to pop this Rainmaker right now.
I agree with you. They just don't really have enough time, and their positioning isn't quite where they want it to be. Oh, but somebody did pop the Rainmaker. I don't think it was Lowkey. I think FTWin popped it to try to hold on to it, but doesn't really matter. Not able to stay alive long enough to bring us into overtime, and that is going to be the first Rainmaker game going to FTWin.
Well, definitely so far going the way FTWin expected it to. Keo playing an absolutely fantastic game right now. Definitely having his Kensa machine on point, which kind of makes you wonder, why did he not pick that weapon in the previous matches? Especially on Inkblood Art Academy, where the weapon actually functions extremely well, in a similar way to the Grim Range Blaster that he was playing, but with more versatility and movement options. Um, Aside from that, we're going to be going into Lowkey's counterpick now. So they're stuck on Rainmaker, but do you think there's a specific map that they could go for that would give them an advantage?
To be honest, I don't remember all of our counterpick maps, but I think that this one right here, Humpback Pump Track, is a really good one for them. We know that Lowkey likes to, as you called it, cheese this one out a little bit, use that tent umbrella to sort of pave the way for any big pushes, and maybe that's just their plan here with this counterpick.
I mean, this Tentabella Mozzarella that they run last game definitely worked. We saw that just become an insanely fast knockout against Team B, which was trying to do the same thing as they were, but mind you, Lowkey was able to execute it a lot better in that scenario, meaning that if they are able to do the same thing, if they're able to repeat what exactly happened before, they might just take this one home really quickly in the blink of an eye.
They certainly can if they can replicate that, but I think FTWin is prepared for it. I think they know how Lowkey plays, and they are ready to sort of to combat that and be prepared to throw everything they have against that type of cheese. And honestly, Lowkey probably knows it too, so maybe their counter they're talking about some sort of counter options, preparations, if their
Yes.
cheese maneuvers don't quite work the way they want them to.
Such as the famous double custom jet Octobrush composition that Japan ran against FTWin here.
Mm-hmm.
That could definitely throw FTWin off the rails, making them remember the E3 sets and just throwing them off their mental game right now. But let's see what Lowkey decides to do as we head into this game. So this could potentially already decide a 1-1 set wise. So this is going to be a pretty important match to win for Lowkey, because it could just either make or break the way the set plays out.
It certainly can, and here we go. There's no tent umbrella here.
No mozzarella. Okay. That's interesting. The one deciding to just switch it up for some reason. It's curious as a choice considering how well it played against B, but I'm sure that he's probably thinking about the umbrella / tent umbrella matchups and probably realized, okay, tent umbrella doesn't really have the most advantageous matchup against the way FTWin is playing, and I'm probably better with vanilla umbrella dealing with Shaq and all his shenanigans. So let's see if that pays off.
It certainly can. I think that Lowkey just needs to be ready for, as you mentioned, Shaq and his shenanigans, like we see right over here. Keo coming up to the top there to help flick around and assist teammate. And right there, the one getting out of the way before those missiles drop down. But it means Shaq can still pick up that Rainmaker and gets to the pedestal. That's a quick dunk. I think this game flip-flopped the way you were anticipating, right? That was a quick knockout for FTWin.
Can we just this map, that mode is just cursed, okay? I hope we don't see this one in grand finals, especially in the last game of grand finals, because this is going to be like a quick knockout for whichever team. But
Hmm.
boy, that was fast. I did not expect it to go this way and to go this fast, really. And I guess we're moving to the last set, and let's hope it's clams, because I know you're waiting for those clams.
We haven't seen any clams at all, and it makes me so sad. But that certainly is what makes a good counter pick. Really, really fantastic job um, from FTWin to be able to do that. This mode was their mode. They picked it. They knew that they would do well, and just really shutting that game down on Lowkey. So we'll see what Lowkey decides to pick for their next mode. So Zones is out, Rainmaker is out, and we have Tower Control and Clamblitz, and they picked Clamblitz. Thank you, Lowkey.
I think it might be the wisest decision for Loki. First of all, FTWin definitely showing off the strengths of the set play format. They knew what mode to go for. They went for it, and it paid off.
Hmm.
So we're hoping Loki is actually going to be able to replicate the same feat that FTWin was able to do, but it's obviously going to be a little bit more difficult with FTWin racking up these 2 wins and just feeling content about how they've been starting to play now.
It certainly will. I think that they have shown that they can really handle whatever is thrown at them at this point from Lowkey. And I think this is going to be a really, really good set. We haven't seen any game threes yet, and I think this could be the one. Or, of course, knowing the chaotic mode that Clemblitz is, this could be a quick knockout either way.
That could very well be, but you were mentioning Clamblitz a lot earlier. You really wanted to see Clamblitz because we hadn't seen
Hmm.
anything about it. But why do you love the mode so much?
Clamblitz is my favorite mode, not just because of the chaos, but because of the teamwork involved. People ask me all the time, why do you love Clamblitz and why do you love Moray Towers? And those are things I'm famous for. I love Clamblitz because it is a mode that requires such teamwork and dedication. You really need to know all the intricacies of not only how do you move throughout the map, how do you help each other to build those power clams, but also how can you use the clam spawns to your advantage? How can you use the timing to your advantage? How can you make sure that you have enough power clams? Are you going to jump in? Are you going to use speed as your tactic? There are so many different ways that you can play this mode. There's not just this is what we do, this is how we cheese it. There's no cheese here. This is a vegan friendly mode, if you will. Hero.
It's a vegan friendly mode. That is one of the best descriptions I have heard of Clamblitz, and it really made me hyped for the matches that we're gonna be seeing here as we see Shag going on those classic dualies that he used to be so well known for. Meanwhile, Lowkey going for a more conventional competition from what we've seen from them, with the one being back on that 10th umbrella after last game, thinking, okay, 10's been giving me luck. Maybe Vanilla Umbrella might not be the pick, especially when I can cheese so well here. Because you were saying it's a vegan mode, but the ones here, he's trying to go for some, how do you call it, for some margarine.
Absolutely. You definitely can bring out some vegan cheese, if you will, to continue that fun. But I think that there's an opportunity here that FTWin definitely has and they're seizing onto, which is playing this mode how it's comfortably played with a baller. And like you mentioned, Shaq, using those dualies that he's known for, is ready with this power clam right now. Does come in for a push. That double baller over there, just trying to combat each other. Shaq gets the first power clam in. I don't know if they're going to have any way to get any more follow-ups here. Ice has a power clam as well, but no one's in position for Ice to jump in, and there's no one close enough to get any single clams in. So I think that they're just going to have to wait another minute to come up with a better opportunity to push.
Even really playing it conservatively there. They definitely played it extremely safe, which I think is probably the best decision. And it's something that a lot of teams struggle doing that in Clamblitz. We can see, again, FTWin going for a second push immediately with 2 players down on the side of Lowkey. Unfortunately, they're not able to follow this up. And this is essentially just giving free power clamps to Lowkey. But the idea, the concept behind what they've been doing so far is extremely strong and extremely effective because it means that they're not giving up pressure. But if they're not able to essentially follow it up, it might just not be worth it compared to just rushing it in. because even if yes you die, you lose mid, but you're at least scoring a little bit more. Because at this point, it might get a little dangerous for them.
I agree with you. I think this call out by Ice is also really strong. Knowing somebody was trying to flank around, able to stop that and shut it down. You know, you're right in that maybe them pushing in for these solos might be a little risky. But I think also Lowkey not really able to hang on to any of the power clams that they're getting over and over again from this. So maybe FTWin is okay in continuing some of these solo pushes, especially when 2D gets a shot like that. Really, really wonderful. Ice jumping in with that power climb finally. Shaq gets one,
There we
two
go.
in just a few, bringing the point all the way down to 34. This is the type of play that I expected to see from FTWin for Clam Blitz. I am so, so excited. Talk about chaos, talk about team coordination. This is why I love the game. Right here I was going
Definitely. I mean, that's exactly the kind of push I was waiting to see, and you mentioned it. That's the kind of FT1 I want to be seeing on Clam. The one thing that I really want to highlight right there is how patient, how well Toon is playing these pushes, because he's not going for a desperate power clam throw in. He's getting that cleanup kill first. He's being smart. He's deciding exactly what to do at the right time, and then he's scoring. We see Misa here trying to go for some aggression. He gets an insane amount of kills, but it doesn't seem like Lowkey has any sort of follow-up with Clamwise.
It certainly doesn't. I'm a little worried about what is going to happen next time around. You know, getting that pick off Shaq is going to be really, really helpful. There is a jump coming in, but there are no more power clams built on the side of Lowkey. These single clams will help them. Oh no, they do. The one picked up a power
Oh,
clam,
the jump,
is
the jump, the
jumping
jump!
in. The jumping. Oh no, the jump gets camped and unfortunately goes down, but Misa picked up the power clam, misses just at that last
That
second.
was so
Oh my
close.
gosh.
Oh my god, that was so close. And that was really unfortunate too. The one there, I think he was trying to jump to Arashi because Arashi had the baller. He was in the perfect position for the one to jump there, but unfortunately probably clicking the wrong player in the heat of the moment. And that might just cost Lowkey the entire game right here. So small decisions, small mistakes, costing him big time. So let's see if that changes. But by the looks of it, it doesn't seem like it's gonna have like Loki's gonna have any time to do a second push with the amount of power clams and kills that FTWin currently has.
Absolutely. Getting another
Oh,
three
that's
in,
game.
that knocks it
Oh my
right
god.
out. Really, really great game for them.
Oh my god. I'm sure this is the kind of clamblets that you were waiting to see, especially from FTWin. This is absolutely insane and just extremely balanced scoreboards coming in from FTWin, but an amazing team effort all around, perfectly played. And I think a big difference from what we saw between FTWin and the other teams has been how they've actually been organizing themselves during those clam pushes. At the start, yes, we saw them go in one at a time, but they would never go with multiple players down unless it was for a big push. And they always thought through their actions. They always went for aggression when they had the clams to follow it up. They never had pointless aggression or pointless pushes.
Very true. I think that's a great statement to make and a great thing to notice as well. They really didn't have pointless pushes. They really have done everything they can to make sure they're coordinated every single time. So I'm really excited to see what happens next. I have to tell you, I did cheat a little bit, Hero, and I opened up the chat here in the GSM Smash GG set, and I see that they have counterpick to Mako Mart.
Ooh.
So I'm excited.
Ooh, this one is gonna be a tough one. This is one of those maps that is extremely close quarters, extremely tight, and it's one of those maps where people still consider the blaster to be a solid option. And knowing that we're watching Kyo, I think both the machine or the blaster could be extremely solid picks from him. I think he's probably gonna be leaning more towards the machine because of how well he's been doing with it and how versatile the weapon is at dealing with something like tent umbrellas, shields, or bubbles with that splashdown. But still, I think Kyo's going to be the star player of this specific match, and it's going to be a tough one for Lowkey.
It certainly is. I think everyone has their work cut out for them here. I do think, though, that as much as this is a very close quarters Clan Blitz maps, it's also rather fair. I think there's a lot of options for many different weapons that you can choose to play. There's different things that you can do in terms of moving your positioning around the map, watching out for those flanks, making sure you consistently have a way to kind of push in, have a power climb at the ready, and I'm just really excited to see what both teams bring out here today. It's this is arguably no, this is my top 3 favorite map mode combinations right here.
And I mean, this is also going to be the decisive match in the set, right? Because if Lowkey loses this one, this is really gonna hurt because it means that they're gonna get out of the tournament. So they really desperately need to win this one because their entire life in this tournament depends from it. They've had a great run so far, and I think it's only fair if they're able to bring FTWin to a game 3.
Certainly. I think they can do it. I think that this is the one to beat. But we'll see what they are going to be able to do right now. If FTWin wins this game, they are going to Grands, which will go against Team Olive. So here we go, going into this. Maybe it could be a little bit of a rematch from what we saw earlier last week. The one bringing out that tent umbrella, excited to see a gamer. Okay, Kyle, sorry.
No worries.
Hero, what do you see on this gamer?
Not is an interesting pick. I think it's a pretty solid pick for this map mode. However, I don't know. There's a big meme from Dia that gamers should not touch the Nautilus. So I hope the meme is currently false. But Nautilus is a very solid weapon, a very underrated one at that. But it really comes down to having a lot of experience with the weapon and knowing how to go aggressive with it. Because if you're not able to play really aggressive with it, the weapon does not hold its own and does not hold a spot on the team. And we currently see FTWin is just really snowballing it out of control right now. So that's not looking good.
They certainly are. I loved watching those double bubbles come out. We had a total of bubbles from each side. I don't think we quite had 6 at the same time, but definitely 4 on the field at one point, just under that basket. So that was really helpful for them to be able to come in, rush that basket, use those bubbles as some cover. As the one popping some bubbles of his own pushes in, does get that power climb into the basket and is still underneath. And Gamer right behind him with another. The jump coming in is, oh no, I think it was a little bit of a missed time jump by Arashi. Throws the power climb when he landed. So not going to even have that to be able to move forward. Misa comes up with, gets, that was a little, I don't know what quite happened there.
Oh boy. That sure was something. Unfortunately, the score did not count for Lowkey there. But I don't think it would have really mattered too much in that scenario because there was really no form of follow-up. But talk about follow-up, FTWin back at it. Ice dying to that wall, very unfortunate death, but he still opens up the basket, and with 3 players with a 3-man advantage compared to Lowkey, this might just end up the game for them. Let's see.
I love they have no idea that Toon was right there under those bubbles, getting a couple of loose clams in, but now Toon is called out, does get a few more, bringing the score down to 19, but no one is around to follow that up. All they needed were a few, not quite able to do it, but really strong showing coming out of FTWin right now. I'm so excited we got to see clams.
We get to see some clams, and the one is back at it with a big clam. So let's see if he's going to be able to do anything out of it. It's a 3v3 situation, so he might have an opening here. Does not die to the bomb, which is really good. That's kind of like one of the main forms of death for any 10th Umbrella player, really. The bubbles coming in, so this is going to be the perfect opportunity for them to cheese. They're going to need to get the jumps going. Unfortunately, the bubbles get popped, but they really need to follow this up because this is probably one of their prime opportunities. But it seems like Arashi was going in a bit too deep alone, and that just turns out into a complete team wipe. So the opposite of what Lowkey really wanted to happen in that scenario. And I mean, FTWin's already got 14 clams already, so this is looking dangerous, more dangerous by the second.
Shaq also has a baller at the ready, and we haven't really seen baller being used as much as we would normally. Ball gets crushed by that hammer, but still Keo able to get that jump in and break that barrier down. I love that. Throwing off your clams to your teammate to not only help them build a power clam, but also get them out of zone so they can't be scored by FTWin. Really, really smart. Gamer gonna pick up the last clam. There are 2 power clams and a couple singles on the side of Lowkey, and Lowkey just needed to get those bubbles a little faster to push in.
Yeah, but I think like the most fun thing about this game so far has been how back and forth it is. You can see it again, a full team wipe. This is just insane. The game has just been from full wipe to full wipe. Every team's just getting wiped back and forth. This is just incredible. And with 50 seconds left, Lowkey really wants to put an end to this vicious cycle of full wipes. Really, Shaq is trying to go in here. They've got enough power clams to actually end the game right now. So. FTWin's really trying to go for this, and Lowkey is really gonna have to do their best to stop this before anything bad, anything grim can happen. But Toon really just getting that game in his bag, and FTWin is going to be advancing into grand finals against Ghost. Wow.
Really wonderful job right there for FTWin taking on that last game. Thank you so much, Lowkey, if you're listening, for choosing Clam so we get to see some really fantastic play there. And I am so, so excited for our grand finals. It will be FTWin versus Olive, Team Olive.